Today we're going to talk about chapter 33 to the end of the book in The Remarkable Journey of Coyote Sunrise by Dan Meinhardt. So, we can begin, okay? Okay, so chapter 33, so Jaeger is damaged, right? Do you have a feeling that Rodeo is actually happy about that? How do you think that Coyote felt? And also, if you were Coyote, how would you react to Rodeo's behavior? He obviously is really glad that this Coyote's plan isn't working out, right? So a school district. So now she's looking for a school district, right? But of course, it's summer. But then she goes to the staff pages, and Tammy Smith shows up. Another Tammy. Why do you think that the author, Dan Meinhardt, did this? And do you like goats? Just a quick question. But also, I also wanted to ask you about Gladys. Would you like it if a goat was in your vehicle? But anyway, so chapter 35, right? So so she fell asleep and she noticed that it was quiet. She couldn't even hear the highway. If you had been Coyote, how would you have felt? How do you think that Rodeo felt about all this? And how do you think that it made Coyote feel about all this? Like, about all this heartbreak and all this? And also, how about telling Rodeo all this? How do you think that she felt in all this? But then Rodeo and Coyote goes. Right? Good. And also, I also wanted to talk about so now they're going quickly. They've lost a loss of hours, but they have to go, right? And if you had been so I wanted to also ask you about the cop. How do you like the cop? How would you describe him? And if you had been Rodeo, how would you have reacted to him? Rodeo was handcuffed, but he was really nice about it, right? If you had been Rodeo, how would you have reacted to it? Would you have strangled the cop? Would you have fought back? How would you have done it? And if you had been Coyote, how would you have done it too? And I also wanted to ask you about the code. Have you ever had a code where you just understand what the other person means? And do you think that it was safe for Coyote to drive? Because there's two ways to look at it. Number one, it's not safe because she's a kid. Number two, she learned how to drive the bus. And she's watched Rodeo plenty of times for 5 years. So she should know how to do this, right? So what do you think about all this? And then another police car comes. If you had been Coyote, would you have turned yourself in? Or would you have just slammed on the brakes a little more so that you could get away? And after all what Coyote has done, what kind of trouble did you expect that Coyote would be in? But when she gets to the park, she sees that the construction is already begun, right? And if you had been Coyote, then would you have just been given up and begin to bawl? Or would you have just rushed over there like the real Coyote has and begin to search? And why do you think that? Do you think that kindness is sometimes it's much stronger than being mean and angry? Because we see this with the construction worker, right? So she's digging around, and if you had been Coyote, would you have already given up hope? And so it's really hot, right? But then miraculously, there's the box. So now this whole story has been based around the box. They've been going across the country for this box, half the time rodeo, not even knowing what was happening. So now she's got it. She's got it. How did you feel like at that moment? The whole book was about this and she got it. How did you feel? How do you think that Coyote felt? And looking at all those memories, and all those things, would you have liked it if you had never seen those things because they would make you sad, or would you like it because it would make you happy? And then there's the cop, right? This cop is nicer, don't you agree? And so I also wanted to talk about Salvador. Salvador comes along, right? Why do you think that Salvador came along? And if you had been Salvador, would you have come along, or would you have been like, hey, there might be some trouble here, and I don't want Coyote to break down in front of me, so I'm not going. How would you have reacted? How would you have been if you had been Salvador, and then rodeo comes, right? And we also learned that Coyote's real name is Ella. Do you like Coyote more, or do you like Ella more? And if you think about it, Coyote's how would you describe Ella and Coyote? What's the main difference between this? And then the police take them to custody, but soon enough it's sorted out, right? And Rodeo was actually, I forgot to mention it, but Rodeo was arrested because of Val. She was lying. How would you have felt if you had been Val? And do you think that Val did the right thing? And if you had been Rodeo, how would you have reacted to all of this? Val's sort of like a traitor in a way, in a sense. And would you have been angry at Val? And how would you have reacted? You might begin to shout at Val, or what would you do? But anyway, in the end, they're at the grandma's house, right? And do you think that if you had been Coyote, would you have liked it being at grandma's house, or do you think that it would just be haunting? But anyway, they go, right? But they want to get onto some roots, right? And roots, and I also wanted to talk about the code. Rodeo said, go to your roots. I think this has two meanings. Meaning number one is really, literally, the roots, but there's something else. What do you think this is? Well, the answer is, it's Coyote's home. Coyote's roots are there, right? Coyote's plant, if she was a plant, then she's been bending and weaving all over the States, all over the United States by wind, I guess, but her roots are still in her home, right? And what did you think about settling? Coyote settling into a home. Did you think that was a little strange? And do you like traveling all the time, or do you like being in a good sturdy house? Both are very good. And why do you think that Coyote really wanted to do this anyway? But anyway, I also wanted to ask you, how do you feel about this whole book? We finished it. How did you feel about this whole book? And did you get emotional along the way sometimes? And also, now Rodeo is called Dad. Do you think that, if you were a dad, would you like to be called Rodeo more or Dad more? And this does not count on the loss of the wife or anything. I'm just very curious. But anyway, a few last questions. It is, what was your favorite part in these chapters and then the whole book? And also, what do you predict next is going to happen to Coyote? Because even though there's no next book, we can still wonder, right? And do you think that, and when Coyote, and what do you think that Rodeo will become? It never says that. It never mentions it. What do you think Rodeo, what job do you think he's going to get? But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed the remarkable journey of Coyote Sunrise, one of my all-time favorite books by Dan Gemeinhart. And I hope that you enjoy other books with me and just on yourself. And have a great, awesome day. Because, as always, there's always a little bit of hope. Okay? We learned this from Coyote. She's been going across the country with barely any hope, because of the hope she gets there, okay? And so I hope that you really have some little hope